1. Max Holloway makes surprising request ahead of UFC 318 Triology clash, it's rude. 2. UFC 318, Poirier vs Holloway 3, full fight card revealed. 3. Islam Makhachev shares prediction for Holloway-Poirier Trilogy fight. 4. Paddy Pimblett's shocking UFC 318 prediction, Poirier vs Holloway. 1. Max Holloway makes surprising request ahead of UFC 318 Triology clash, it's rude. Something about Max Holloway's recent UFC demand has fans and officials alike shaking their heads, and he's not apologizing for stirring things up. But here's where it gets controversial. Despite moving up to lightweight, Holloway is still weirdly ranked as the #1 contender at featherweight. Ahead of his high-stakes Trilogy matchup against Dustin Poirier at UFC 318, the iconic Hawaiian fighter has issued a bold and possibly divisive request: pull me from the featherweight rankings. Wait, what? Max blessed Holloway and Dustin the Diamond of Poirier are about to write another chapter in their storied rivalry. On July 19, the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans will host this epic third showdown as the main event of UFC 318, with the coveted BMF title on the line. This bout is especially significant because Poirier has announced this will be his final fight, with UFC President Dana White hailing him as one of the sport's all-time greats. Notably, the entire event is built around Poirier's retirement, a rare show of respect and spotlight that sparked plenty of conversation among fans and analysts. Unfortunately, for Holloway, history hasn't been on his side against Poirier, who currently leads their series 2-0. Those previous losses included Poirier nearly breaking Holloway's arm in Holloway's debut and outlasting him for the interim lightweight title in 2019. This time, Holloway is determined to change the narrative, but before he can even step into the cage, he's causing a stir elsewhere in the UFC world. And this is the part most people miss. While Poirier is teasing an unforgettable walkout with none other than rap icon Lil Wayne, Holloway has quietly made a rather unusual request to UFC management. He's asking to officially be removed from the featherweight division rankings. While this might seem like a minor detail, it's actually sparking debate, as Holloway has effectively moved to lightweight full-time, yet somehow he's still listed as the top contender at featherweight, even after his recent knockout loss to Ilia Topuria at UFC 308. That fight marked the first knockout loss of Holloway's legendary career, and for most fighters, such a loss would mean a natural slide in the rankings. So, why is Holloway still at the top? Holloway himself is baffled. Honestly, I don't know what you guys are thinking keeping me #1 there because, to me, that's just ridiculous. I'm done with 145 pounds for good, it feels great to eat and recover properly, and I'm not going back, he told MMA Junkie. He didn't stop there, questioning the UFC rankings system as a whole. The rankings are all over the place. Like, when I fought Gator at lightweight, he was supposedly the #1 contender at 155, but at the same time, in other rankings, he's down at 4 or 5. It's confusing and inconsistent, and I really didn't expect to come out at #9 in any of this. But here's a thought-provoking twist: could Holloway's request be an indictment of the UFC's often confusing ranking system? Or is he simply trying to make a statement about his new journey at lightweight? Fans and even other fighters have long criticized the rankings for their lack of transparency and consistency, so Holloway's move resonates with a deeper frustration in the sport. Meanwhile, Holloway is also mindful of avoiding an unwanted career trend. He's already endured a trilogy at featherweight against Alexander Volkanovski, where he unfortunately went 0-3. Making history is awesome, but I really don't want to be remembered as the guy who fought 2 trilogies and lost all 6 fights, Holloway remarked. So, what do you think? Is Holloway right to call out the ranking system's flaws, or is this simply distraction before his big fight? Should the UFC do more to clarify and standardize their rankings? Share your thoughts. Whether you agree or disagree, this is a debate that's far from over. 2. UFC 318, Poirier vs Holloway 3, full fight card revealed. Imagine a night of non-stop action, with 14 thrilling fights that will keep you on the edge of your seat. The highly anticipated UFC 318 is just around the corner, and we've got the scoop on the entire fight card. Headed to New Orleans on Saturday, June 19th, this event promises to be an unforgettable experience for fans of mixed martial arts. But here's where it gets exciting. The main event features a legendary showdown between Dustin Poirier and Max Holloway, two lightweight champions who have a long and storied history in the octagon. Poirier, who's announced that this will be his retirement fight, is looking to make it 3 wins in a row against Holloway. Will he be able to pull off the trifecta, or will Holloway finally get his revenge? The co-main event is just as intriguing, with former title challenger Paulo Costa facing off against the heavy-handed middleweight Roman Kopylov. Costa's impressive skills will be put to the test against Kopylov's formidable punching power. And this is the part most people miss: the rest of the fight card is packed with exciting matchups that are sure to deliver. Kevin Holland, for example, will be competing for the 4th time in 2025 when he takes on Daniel Rodriguez in a welterweight bout. Holland's been on a tear lately, and it will be interesting to see how he fares against Rodriguez. Another fight to watch is the matchup between Dan Ige and Patricio Pitbull, a former Bellator featherweight champion. Ige is looking to build on the momentum of his recent win, while Pitbull is seeking to bounce back from a disappointing debut in the UFC. The main card is rounded out by a lightweight bout between Michael Johnson and Daniel Zellhuber, which has all the makings of a big finish. But what about the rest of the fight card? The prelims feature a slew of exciting matchups, including Kyler Phillips vs Vinicius Oliveira, Marvin Vettori vs Brendan Allen, and Francisco Prado vs Nikolai Veretennikov. And let's not forget the women's bout between Carly Giudice and Aikal Cagliari, which promises to be an action-packed affair. Now, we want to hear from you. Who do you think will win the main event, Poirier or Holloway? Do you think Costa can take down Kopylov, or will the middleweight's punching power prove too much for him? Let us know in the comments. Here's the full fight card for UFC 318, main card: Dustin Poirier vs Max Holloway, Paulo Costa vs Roman Kopylov, Kevin Holland vs Daniel Rodriguez, Dan Ige vs Patricio Pitbull, and Michael Johnson vs Daniel Zellhuber. Prelims: Kyler Phillips vs Vinicius Oliveira, Marvin Vettori vs Brendan Allen, Francisco Prado vs Nikolai Veretennikov, Tiba Gauthier vs Robert Valentin, Adam Fugit vs Islam Dulatov, Jimmy Crute vs Marcin Prachnio, Ryan Spann vs Lucas Bresky, Bruno Ferreira vs Jackson McVeigh, and Carly Giudice vs Aikal Cagliari. It's going to be a wild ride, folks, so buckle up and get ready for an unforgettable night of mixed martial arts. 3. Islam Makhachev shares prediction for Holloway-Poirier trilogy fight. Imagine a fight so monumental that it brings together legends of the MMA world and sets the stage for a thrilling trilogy. The upcoming UFC 318 event is exactly that, as Max Holloway and Dustin Poirier prepare to face off in what promises to be a battle for the ages. But here's where it gets interesting. Former UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev is placing his bets on Poirier to win, and it's not just a random prediction. Makhachev, who has been a force to be reckoned with in the lightweight division, respects Poirier as one of his toughest opponents and believes he has a strong chance of winning. This is particularly significant given that Poirier has announced this will be his last fight, adding an extra layer of emotional intensity to the bout. Let's dive deeper into what makes this fight so compelling. The prediction: why Poirier could win. Islam Makhachev recently shared his thoughts on the Holloway-Poirier trilogy fight, stating that he thinks Dustin Poirier has a higher chance of coming out on top. Speaking with Magenki's Mike Bone, Makhachev emphasized Poirier's dedication and readiness for the fight, which he believes will be crucial in securing a victory. This is not just a casual prediction, it carries weight coming from a fighter of Makhachev's caliber. His respect for Poirier as an opponent speaks volumes about the skills Poirier brings to the octagon. The MMA community's verdict. The MMA community is currently divided on how the fight will play out. Betting odds reflect this split opinion, with Max Holloway having -122 odds to win and Dustin Poirier at -104 on FanDuel. This close margin suggests that both fighters have strong chances, but public sentiment might lean slightly more towards Poirier, especially given his hometown advantage in New Orleans. Max Holloway, embracing the role of the bad guy. Max Holloway, known for his fan-friendly persona, will find himself in an unusual position at UFC 318. He'll be stepping into the octagon as the bad guy, since Poirier is not only a fan favorite but also fighting in his home state. Holloway, however, is embracing this role. In an interview with Magenki's Mike Bone, He expressed his willingness to be the antagonist for the duration of the fight, focusing on the business aspect of his role. This mindset highlights his professionalism and dedication to the sport. Previewing the full UFC 318 card. Beyond the main event, UFC 318 promises to be an exciting night with a diverse lineup of fights. The main card features 5 bouts that could easily contend for Fight of the Year honors. Here's a rundown of what fans can expect. Michael Johnson vs Daniel Zellhuber. This lightweight bout kicks off the main card, with Johnson looking to extend his 2-fight win streak and Zellhuber seeking to get back on track. Danhage vs Patricio Pitbull. A featherweight showdown that promises intense action, as both fighters are known for their aggressive styles. Kevin Holland vs Daniel Rodriguez. A welterweight fight that has been years in the making. After multiple cancellations, these two are finally facing off, and it's expected to be a thrilling matchup. Paulo Costa vs Roman Kopylov. In the co-main event, Costa returns to action against Kopylov, who recently impressed with a highlight reel KO victory. The full UFC 318 card offers something for every MMA fan, with a mix of established stars and rising talents. Here's a look at the complete lineup. Main card. Max Holloway vs Dustin Poirier. Paulo Costa vs Roman Kopylov. Kevin Holland vs Daniel Rodriguez. Danhage vs Patricio Pitbull. Michael Johnson vs Daniel Zellhuber. Preliminary card. Kyler Phillips vs Vinicius Oliveira. Marvin Vettori vs Brendan Allen. Francisco Prado vs Nikolai Veretennikov. Atiba Gauthier vs Robert Valentin. Early prelims. Adam Fugit vs Islam Dulatov. Jimmy Crute vs Marcin Prachnio. Ryan Spann vs Lucas Bresky. Bruno Ferreira vs Jackson McVeigh. Carly Giudice vs Eichel Cagliari. As the UFC heads to New Orleans, fans are bracing themselves for an unforgettable night. The question on everyone's mind is, will Poirier's farewell fight end on a high note, or will Holloway spoil the party? Share your thoughts below. Do you think Poirier has what it takes to win his last fight, or will Holloway prove too strong? The stage is set for a thrilling conclusion to a legendary trilogy. 4. Paddy Pimblett's shocking UFC 318 prediction, Poirier vs Holloway. Here's a prediction that's turning heads in the MMA world. Paddy Pimblett isn't just picking a winner, he's betting on the underdog. When asked about the upcoming Dustin Poirier vs Max Holloway showdown at UFC 318, the British welterweight star threw cold water on the conventional wisdom. Despite Poirier's 2 previous victories over Holloway, Pimblett boldly declared that the Hawaiian featherweight could finally seize his moment. But here's where it gets controversial. Could a man who's lost twice to his rival really pull off the unthinkable? Let's break it down. The history between Poirier and Holloway is a tale of 2 fighters. Their first clash in 2012 ended with Holloway's debut loss, a tough start for the young sensation. 13 years later, they met again in 2019, and this time, Holloway's struggles continued as Poirier took the decision. Fast forward to July 19, 2025, and the stakes have never been higher. This isn't just another fight, it's Poirier's farewell performance in his home state of Louisiana, and Holloway's chance at redemption. Pimblett, speaking on The Versus podcast explained his reasoning with a mix of intuition and analysis. I can see Holloway winning, to be honest. Don't know why. It's just one of those fights where the pressure could crack the favorite, he said. Poirier, fighting on home soil and in his final bout, faces a unique burden. Everyone expects him to win. The pressure, I think he might lose, Pimblett added. But this isn't just about underestimating Poirier. It's about understanding the psychology of a fighter on the brink of retirement versus one hungry for validation. And this is the part most people miss, Holloway's motivation. Years ago, Poirier handed him his first loss and ended his winning streak. Now, Holloway sees a chance to flip the script. He took a lot from me. I'm gonna take his retirement fight, Pimblett quoted Holloway as saying. For Poirier, This is a bittersweet send-off. After a brutal loss to Islam Makhachev in June, the lightweight icon announced his retirement, cementing this fight as his final chapter. UFC CEO Dana White even made headlines by choosing Louisiana as the venue, a heartfelt nod to Poirier's roots. What makes this matchup so compelling? The BMF, Baddest Mother title is on the line, adding a layer of prestige to an already historic event. Poirier, who debuted in the WEC in 2010 before joining the UFC, has spent over a decade building his legacy. Ending his career with a 3-0 record against Holloway would be poetic. But Pimblett's prediction challenges fans to think differently. Holloway's motivated, the Irishman insisted. Could this be the night that underdog stories collide with championship grit? Let's get one thing straight, Poirier's record speaks for itself. 2 wins over Holloway, a 20-year career, and a fanbase that's ready to cheer him out on a high note. Yet Pimblett's take forces us to ask, is Poirier's experience enough to overcome the mental and physical toll of a final showdown? Or will Holloway's hunger for redemption prove too much? The fight is more than just a trilogy, it's a full-circle moment. In 2012, Holloway lost his debut to Poirier. Now, he's poised to hand his rival his final loss, closing the book on a rivalry that spanned over a decade. Whether you agree with Pimblett or not, one thing's for sure, this is a fight that will be remembered. So, what do you think? Is Poirier destined to exit as a legend, or will Holloway steal the spotlight with a career-defining win? Drop your thoughts in the comments, let's settle this debate once and for all.